Hey, what's up, YouTube? Back with another video. Same thing as always, one take, just ramble on, see where it goes. As you can see from the title of the video, did technology ruin our lives? And the main focus of this video is going to be on like social media and the media and like stuff we're consuming, that sort of thing. And I saw this great, like line or quote, again from social media, that basically said that back in the day, in let's say the 90s, early 2000s, we had enough technology to make our lives easier, but not enough for it to consume us. I think that's very true. We look at social media today. It basically consumes us. We all have our phones. We're always, a lot of us are doom scrolling nonstop. And I was talking about in my last video how I have a tough time like focusing on, like, let's say watching a TV show or a movie. When I was younger, I could watch a TV show or a movie without stopping. I would be focused on it. And nowadays it seems like, I'll pick up my phone like every 5 minutes and like scroll or like check my notifications and stuff like that. Anytime we have a break in our lives or whatever, I feel like we're all guilty of like pulling out our phones and like checking it. But it seems like when we were younger, the technology that we had in our lives, it was just to make our lives more convenient. As people say, we had like a third space. The internet was a third space. In today's world, it's not really a third space. It's the main space. That's like society's town hall, basically, where everybody goes constantly, nonstop. And I think basically the question has to be now asked in today's world: has it ruined our lives? Has it consumed us? Has it, rotted our brains, basically? And we look at our social media, we look at media. How much of it is just based on negativity? And just an example, like, we online, TikTok, Instagram, whatever, we see these like, fight videos, and fight videos are entertaining. People arguing, whatever, like they can be entertaining. But one thing that I've noticed recently in my life is like so many times I view those videos, I'll see those videos, and let's say somebody in public arguing with each other or something happens, and I'll always, so many times I'll watch that video, and I realize that I let those negative emotions affect me. Like I'll watch that video, I'll put myself in that person's shoes and think, what would I have done if I was in that situation, in that argument? What if somebody said that to me or did that to me? How would I react? And so many times I'll be sitting there, and I'll notice that I'll get like worked up or angry. Like I'll imagine that scenario in my head, like I would have done this or I would have said this in that situation. And I've just come to the realization that like that stuff is not healthy. Like you start to curate this reality in your head that's not real. And like, as they say, your mind doesn't know what's real and what's fake. If you're imagining some negative scenario or whatever, your body's going to react as if you're in that situation. It can't tell if it's fake or not. And you guys can search that up yourselves. That's 100% true. And I just realized those type of videos get millions of views online, right? And it's like, we're constantly, those kind of stuff get views. So many people put out those type of videos. You see these like random debates online. And debating can be healthy and stuff, but it's like so many times you just have these random people arguing about shit online. And it's like, why am I getting worked up about this? Why am I like investing so much time and energy and focus into this? And I feel like for a lot of us, whether we want to admit it or not, or realize it or not, it's affecting our lives negatively. And you look at the media, mainstream news, mainstream media, whatever, like how often do they put out positive news, right? Obviously it's always negative. And like, again, you have to obviously report on stuff, right? The bad stuff that goes on in society or on those, you obviously have to report on that stuff. But like, they know that that's the stuff that's going to get clicks. That's what they're going to look at. You look at these like sort of talk shows, or when these mainstream media news outlets bring people on to talk, we all know that these news outlets push their own narratives, right? And if they bring on someone who is against their narrative, they're just going to shout over them. They're going to do like the gotcha journalism and stuff. And again, it's just negativity, right? And we're consuming that. And like people who lean certain ways will watch certain news outlets. And like, it seems like a lot of us are living in these different realities, right? I feel like that's like one of the main reasons we see so much division in society. And like, I don't think anybody's going to argue that social media and the media has played a major role in the division that we see in today's world. Again, people can disagree. Again, that's just my opinion, but I feel like a majority of people would agree with that. Let's see what else. What we consume matters. Again, I feel like as I've grown older, I feel like, you really come to realize that when the adults used to tell us certain things about, the world is like this, the world is like that, what we consume matters, blah, blah, blah. It seems like when you're young, you ignore that sort of stuff, right? But like now that I've gotten older, I feel like you realize that they were saying that for a reason, right? or when they used to say things like, oh, this music that you guys listen to, this rap music, hip hop, whatever, they're talking about guns, this and that. Like, they used to say that stuff, affects you negatively. It's not good for society. When you're younger, you think, what are these guys talking about? I feel like now that I've grown older, I'm like, what, that kind of stuff does definitely matter. The music we listen to, what's pushed in our in Hollywood and movies and stuff like that. I feel like it has had a negative effect. Now, not to the extent where it's like, I'm not trying to say that if you listen to that type of music that you're gonna become like a murderer or like a gangster or something like that. But I feel like for certain people, it can definitely have an effect. Now, again, I listen to that kind of music. I'm not a gangbanger or anything like that, obviously. But like certain, movies push a certain narrative. Music pushes like a certain narrative. I think subconsciously it's gonna affect people, especially when you're young. But again, not trying to say people are gonna become terrorists or gangbangers, nothing like that. But I feel like it has a negative effect on our subconscious, whether we want to admit it or not. But just as I've gotten older, like, I think you really start to think for yourself. You realize, like, you really start to question, what type of narratives are these media companies, social media people, whatever, what are they trying to push? And I think recently, especially after COVID, we really start to realize that these billionaires, these politicians, whatever, like, a lot of the time they're in cahoots together. They're trying to push a certain narrative. Certain countries, certain intelligence agencies, whatever, are trying to push some narrative. They're trying to benefit themselves, whatever. I don't really know how to put it into words, but I think you guys get the gist of what I'm saying. Again, not to get political or anything, but I feel like that's like the real word. I feel like as I've gotten older, I feel like as we've gotten older, we start to realize, like, damn, there's some nefarious characters in society trying to push certain things. I think we've all realized that with food as well. Companies only care about the bottom line. They only care about their profit. But yeah, I mean, not to get too off topic again, we're talking about technology, but like, I think you guys realize where I'm trying to go with this. These billionaire people, whatever, they're trying to push certain narratives or whatnot. These like billion-dollar companies, they just view us as consumers and like nothing more. Obviously not every company, but like, just as an example, we look at Netflix, right? When they started out, it was like, hey, you pay this price, you get to watch these TV shows and movies on demand. You watch it however you want. Amazon Prime, all these other ones. And now as time has gone on, where like, cable television isn't what it used to be. Now they're like, hey, we're gonna raise our price. It seems like every year they raise their price. And now it's like, hey, we're gonna introduce ads to like the basic subscription. But if you want to get rid of the ads, get the premium subscription or whatever. And it's like, that's what people paid for at the start. That is so scummy. Where it's like, these companies release a good product, people love it, they buy it, they're already making millions and millions and millions of dollars, in some cases billions, and then they go, we got to get more. Right now it's like, okay, we're just gonna squeeze more and more out of you. Even again, you can apply that to many things. I mean, even like gaming, obviously, on this channel and stuff, and like I talk about video games, and it's like, you look at the gaming companies, how many of them are going to start utilizing AI? Like, some of them already are. Like, and you look at what video games were before, passion projects and whatnot. And it's like, now it's not even about that. For a lot of these big companies, it's just about the bottom line, profit. Let's try to push out whatever AI slop we can. Let's make more money. Who cares about the community? Who cares about the people that have been with you for however long? It seems like profit is the bottom line. I think that's what the main thing about this video, did technology ruin our lives? The answer is yes. And I think the main driving force of that is profit. Obviously, it's not that simple. Obviously, there's more things. Obviously, there's technology it has some good things to it. It's brought us together, made us more connected. You can sit at home and like view what's going on around the world, connect with people around the world, your relatives and whatnot, and see what's going on, learn about new things. Obviously, that's great. But these nefarious characters in society have weaponized technology in certain ways, and ruined it in some aspects. And we see how, these companies, the military industrial complex, how they're going to utilize AI for weaponry, right? War has become even more brutal with these drones and whatnot. So in a lot of aspects, yes, technology has ruined our lives. There obviously it's done good things as well, but yeah, it's not how it used to be. It was more about, back in the day, it was more about convenience, but now it just consumes every aspect of our lives. And it's like, fried a lot of our brains, right? Distance us from nature in some aspects too. How many of us actually get out and go see nature? A lot of stuff to see. Again, is that a simplified way of saying it? Yes. obviously, but a lot of us, it's just like we're stuck in the rat race. You know, you work full time on your days off, you're tired as hell, and you just want to sit there, doom scroll, watch TV, whatever, right? But yeah, that's basically all I got for today, guys. Um, thanks so much for the comments on the previous video. You know, the previous video was probably my best one so far. A lot of comments. Great to hear. You know, people out there are connecting. They're you know, it's even for me, like, giving me a lot of motivation to keep making these videos. So it seems like a lot of people enjoy them. They like commenting and stuff like that. So it definitely motivates me. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for commenting, subscribing, and all that. And yeah, if you guys have any video ideas or anything like that that you guys want to throw in the comments, let me know. A topic you want to discuss or whatnot. But thanks so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Wish you guys all the best. God bless.